Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Kimberley O'Sullivan taku ingoa. I'm from the university's Wellington campus, so it's really nice to be down here in person and see everyone also online. So this is some work that we've been doing with our longtime community partners, the Sustainability Trust, who have entered the market as Toast Electric, New Zealand's first non-profit electricity retailer, as a way of trying to reduce energy hardship. We sit separately to them, but Phil is collaborating with us on this work. So a little bit as to why we might collaborate with the Sustainability Trust and try and understand what the wellbeing impacts of a market-based solution to energy poverty are. Obviously, we still have a large problem with energy poverty in New Zealand, and a short report that we released last week. We just looked at very basic numbers, comparing what are the bottom 10% paying compared to the top 10% of households, and it's 1 out of every $13 being spent by our lowest income households. For that money, they are not warm, they are not using all the hot water that they need, they are not having enough energy services, and it's not an equitable situation at all when we compare it to the 1 out of $77 that our highest income households are spending in order to do what they need to do at home and achieve the kind of energy services that they need. So our question with this research is really to try and understand how can not-for-profit electricity retail as one kind of solution contribute to well-being. So Toast Electric, like I said, is a not-for-profit electricity retailer. They operate in the Greater Wellington region, so they're Wellington, Porirua, Hutt City, Kapiti, and right up to Levin in the Horowhenua. And their mission is to eliminate energy hardship by providing fair and competitive pricing while also lowering household emissions. So how this works, and thank you to Phil for these slides. So you sign up to Toast Electric like you would any other energy retailer. If you are a general income customer, then you're enrolled normally. You can be offered a home energy check if you would like to take that up. And the idea is that you're using your electricity spending in order to offset the costs of sharing extra with those energy wellbeing customers that come along the top pathway. So they are referred by a partner agency. They are enrolled as an energy wellbeing customer. It's around about 20 to 25% of the customers that are being enrolled into this program. They also receive a home energy check, and they might get things like a referral through to the Curtin Bank and supports like that. They might also be referred into the partner programs like the Healthy Homes Initiative, Well Homes, that runs in Wellington region, and Sustainability Trust is part of Well Homes. And they also are offered a lower price than their current retailer and winter electricity discounts in the 3 months of winter. So in the first year, Toast was able to provide them with a discount of 50% on their energy bills in June, July, August. And last year, they were able to have a 30% discount. So there's the list of partner organisations that are some of the referrers, and you'll see we talked to some of those. So what have we done? We've done interviews with the energy wellbeing customers, we've done some interviews with the referral partners, and then we've just run a qualitative survey as well with the regular customers to understand what are the impacts or early impacts of this initiative. And I will stress that these are preliminary results. We're kind of road testing them here, and it's really nice if I can get some feedback from you on what anyone thinks, so that we can take that into account when we're going through our final stages of data analysis. So please do come and chat. But some of the emerging themes that we've had coming through from the energy wellbeing customers is an overwhelming sense of really high trust in Toast Electric. They also talked obviously about decreased energy bill stress that gave them increased financial flexibility across the rest of their household budget, as well as increasing the energy use. And a lot of them talked about including heating. It had really positive impacts that were quite broad and included changes to family dynamics as well. And I'm not going to read all the quotes out. I'll leave you to read them. But I think it's important to note this kind of key takeaway that decreasing bill stress reduces stress and anxiety, and it's also giving us a real sense that people's ontological security, their feeling of homeness or being comfortable and safe at home, is really increasing through this program as well. And it's quite hard to kind of describe how that goes, but people were saying things like it's just a horrible feeling to be sitting in your home and being freezing cold all of the time. And that kind of speaks to that feeling of just general discomfort, but how that feeds into broader well-being as well. And again, this went beyond their electricity bills and their household energy use. And so we had quite a few mentions about how this has impacted children's lives, but also we had a couple of comments from elderly people who said things like, you know, they were able to afford to take a bus and have a cup of coffee once a week at a cafe with a friend, and that really increased their broad well-being and feelings of social inclusion as well. So it's much broader than just being warm at home or just having enough energy services at home. A similar kind of story came out from the 4 referral partners that we talked to. They kind of talked about, you know, people that were due to be disconnected or had been disconnected before, that they were able to help through this program. I think it is important to note that the referral partners did highlight to us a number of kind of early challenges that they were seeing trying to get people into the program, and so that we're able to feed that back through to Toast as well. And I think Toast has been really reflective and open with the referral partners and have regular catch-ups about how they can improve the service going forward as well. And just looking over some of the very newest data that we have from a qualitative survey. So this is like a regular survey that we send out, but instead of doing a bunch of check boxes, we had far more open text boxes in this one. So the data that we have is more kind of as if we were to do an interview, but able to reach a lot more people. So we're presenting this kind of semi-quantitatively as well. So you can see some of the kind of key themes coming through here. So this was from 154 responses that we had from about, I think it went out to about 680 regular customers, to give you an idea of the scale of this. But the overwhelming kind of talk was around, you know, people wanting to support a not-for-profit and supporting that idea, and that's why they had switched over as a regular customer. And there were people that also talked about electricity being an essential human right as well. So that kind of messaging starting to come through into people's motivations for joining this program. Again, we saw, you know, people talking about having trust in Toast and not feeling like they needed a whole lot of information from Toast, that they would just do the job. And I think that's partly because Sustainability Trust has been operating in Wellington already for such a long time, and they're well known in the community. So I think that strength of having strong community partners is important. So some of them have talked about kind of past personal experiences of energy poverty. A lot of, I was a cold student in Dunedin, like I was a cold student in Dunedin. And yeah, but there's other kinds of things that people have talked about too. I think we haven't really delved into sort of more gendered impacts. We haven't really delved into you know, ideas around what might happen when somebody moves out of a situation of being in financial control. And so that's some of the next work that we're wanting to look at next year. Some people talked about having whānau or friends that are currently experiencing energy poverty, and they felt like this was a way of supporting their community. But about half of people didn't actually know anyone who has experienced energy poverty, but still wanted to support their community. And I think there was an overwhelming idea that supporting other people while they were also benefiting, because they acknowledged that they had received a discounted price usually for joining Toast Electric. So there was an acknowledgement that they were also benefiting, but they really, the data kind of suggests this enhanced feeling of broad community wellbeing, even for the regular customers that are involved. So ngā mihi nui, really pleased to get your feedback and to take any questions if you'd like to chat.
Thanks, Kimberley. That was really interesting. Do we have any questions from the room, first of all?
Marcus.
Hang on.
You can just repeat the question.
Yeah, Sean steps
I
in.
feel bad. It's not fair all the way up here. And this might not be a fair question, but it was a question that was asked to me, and I thought I'd just pass it to you because I think you're better placed about it, around the role of retailers and gentailers and the incumbents, and how you see as an independent retailer what you can do for investing in different things. Are there, I guess, to summarize, are anything you'd want to see change in the market settings?
Yeah. So I'm an independent academic who's free to talk about the problems in the electricity retail space. And I think the problems with the government being a majority shareholder that gets huge windfall profits, increasing profits. And I don't think that it might be a market that is working very well for companies, but I don't think that this is a market that is serving New Zealand and New Zealand's best interests at the moment. So I think we need a broader conversation about how we might want to redevelop our market for the future. And I would be really excited to be a part of those conversations or to feed in some of these kind of ideas that are coming to us from community. So I guess I can say that. I think it's been a lot of work for Phil to get this going. And I think it would be fair to say that at the moment, Toast exists because they are supported by a hedge from the market. And, there's no kind of controls, there's no protections that exists or that will continue to exist. And so I don't think that we've set up well for new little players to come into the market. I think it was very hard for Phil to do this. And if he was not the person that he has been, like I've watched him try to do this for a decade, a number of us in this room know Phil and have seen him slaving away trying to do this. Gareth is nodding and smiling. So I think, if it were not for his personal perseverance, this might not have happened. And so I don't think the market settings are probably enough as they are.
That's great. Yes, my question was going to be, how did they get through the winter with the massive prices? But it sounds like they had a hedge in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, those contracts come to an end and
yeah.
So, yeah, they need to
particularly when they've been tested as they were this winter. Any other questions in the room? Or we'll go online. Thank you. This is one from Dr. Louisa Bravo Katala. That is a wonderful project. Thank you for your insights. How do you envision the growth of Toast and or other social and not-for-profit retailers in Aotearoa? Ngā mihi nui.
Louisa, nice to hear from you. I think maybe that thing around the market settings and maybe having a broader conversation about what do we want to do to try and support these kind of initiatives. And I think that it would be in our interest to come up with a more centralised system for protecting some of that money that is coming through as windfall profit. And I think we need to have a bigger conversation about how do we organise for energy hardship solutions. And I don't think at the moment that it's going to be very easy for other community groups to do this. But if we had a centralised pool of money that was coming in from some of those profits that was set aside that could go to community or could be a bit better organised to do something like this, it might be less difficult to sustain something like this in the future or to spread it across the country where it needs to go. I do think it is really important that there are strong community partners that are involved here, but at the moment it's a very ad hoc thing that is being done, and all of the gentailers are doing their own thing. All of the retailers are doing their own thing when it comes to energy hardship initiatives. So I think we need to get smarter about how we organise that.
Yes, very true. Thank you. One more question from online. This is from Pauline Norris. Thanks for a great talk. Have you had anything to do with Ngā Mai Rā, who are a kōpapa Māori power company that's a bit similar?
Yeah, I've just kind of watched Ezra's journey with interest, and I think that they're doing some really great stuff as well. And to my knowledge, they kind of operate in the same kind of way. They have hedging arrangements. I see at the moment they're not able to take on new customers. You know, this is a problem. I think another thing that I haven't mentioned that is worth talking about is what are we going to do about disconnections? Because even these tiny, tiny little retailers who are trying to do their best for the community are going to run up into a problem of what do they do if they have somebody who, for reasons outside of control, cannot really be contacted. And a lot of the time that is severe mental health issues. And so those people will eventually need to be disconnected through this kind of market system. So I think we need to have a bigger conversation there as well about what do we do for those people who genuinely can't pay their bill for some reason as well. So I think Ngā Mai Rā, I think Toast, I think all of these kind of little solutions, they're going to run up into that problem as well.
Yeah, true. Thanks, Kimberley. That was really interesting.